Beautiful. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today for the zoning citation hearings, Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023. We have 8 items potentially on the agenda today to be heard, and most importantly, we have a brand new zoning citation hearing officer. So I will let him take it away to introduce himself, and we'll go from there.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matt Studer. I'm an attorney practicing in Westport, Connecticut, and a resident and elector here in Norwalk. Happy to be stepping in for the usual citation hearing officer and helping out today.
Awesome, sounds good. So, matter of procedure, this is just what we do here. We do try to stick to the agenda, but if the first few items aren't here yet, they're late, whatever the case may be. If somebody has bothered to be here on time, we'll take them. So this is 61 Ohio Avenue Extension.
Okay.
This is Edgar, the property owner, and let me just grab the file here for you. It's still here. Okay, so here is the memo. I always provide a copy of the memo you can get, so just in case, this as an attorney overstay, sometimes he remembers, sometimes he doesn't. Okay, so what I will do here, and typically we just I'm sure as you've watched the videos, just swear in the whoever's going to be testifying if they're not represented by counsel,
Of course.
So let me get that. We get the. Oh, we have 2 participants here. Who's here? Anybody? Who's here? Who's here? Oh, Kid, are you watching it? I don't know who that is. That's fair enough. Let me get this set up. Share screen. And where do we have here? There we go. Share. We definitely being up there. Okay. All right, Counselor, we are ready when you are.
Yes, I'm all set. So, address for the record, please.
It's Edgar Garcia, 61 Ohio Avenue Extension, Norwalk, Connecticut.
And raise your right hand.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Oh, could you raise your right hand?
Oh, yeah.
I swear you swear the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Excellent.
Perfect. Okay. Briefly for a second there. That's odd. Got it. Okay. Let's stop and cut out for a quick second. All right, but we're back, everybody. Sorry about that. Little glitch. So it's like a conveyor belt. I am going to put something up here. I'll hand it to you. I will keep going, as I'm sure Steve here can tell you. I talk fast and a lot. So if you need me to stop, throw up a stop sign. If you want to review something or you have a question for me, let me know.
Excellent.
And then we'll move to the property owner.
Will do. Thank you.
Sure. So this complaint came in on June 26, 2023. And basically on the email there, this was originally went, Tammy is our chief enforcement officer. So this went to her, and it was from received from a citizen, and the issue was they're building a structure they claim which encroaches on the property lines. However, we had no proof of that, but we do have proof of a structure, so that's what we went with. So based on that, you know, we also, I'm sorry, I should have looked at the file first before I started my presentation here. We had a follow-up complaint, basically the same thing. Yeah, it claims of there's the parcel has parking issues. And now they've removed another spot with the shed. This came directly to me. So that's why we went out and started our investigation. The complaint, these two emails constitute a citizen's complaint. So we started our investigation.
Okay.
And next we go on to our inspections. So pretty straightforward picture here. On July 6th, 2023. This is me, so for future reference, this is what my handy drawings look like. And so basically we had some ladders and we have a shed, so all of this constitutes a structure under construction. And upon returning to the office on the 6th, confirmed that there were no applications or permits for the structure. So based on all of that, sent a notice of violation to the owner of record via the tax form. That is Edgar Garcia.
Yep.
Perfect. And so here, that's the tax form, and here is the physical notice itself, sent to the owner of record.
So this is the notice of violation.
That is the notice of violation, correct, the initial notice. And on there cited, these three sections are basically a lot of words saying that you need a zoning approval for a shed. You need to apply for a zoning approval for a shed. You must obtain a zoning approval for a shed. And then once the shed is completed, you need to obtain a certificate of zoning compliance, which is basically via a inspection to confirm that all conditions of the approval are met. So that's basically all that says for 2 pages worth of words. So on August 9th, we received the certified mail return receipt green card. So this was signed by Ismelda, which is on the green card, the notice and the tax card as one of the owners.
Okay.
So that's why we accepted this. So based on that, we feel that we gave proper notice of the violations of the property owner. So based on that, we waited for state statute time limits to run out and then proceed to the next inspection, which was done on August 18th. And this was actually conducted by our land use technician, compliance inspector, Lee. And you see the shed is still there. It's a little bit closer to completion now, but same spot. Appears to be about the same height as well. And so based on that still being there, we sent a citation to the owner of record. And same owner of record with the tax office, same long-winded explanation of needing a permit and COZZ for the shed. This was sent constable service. Oh, and on the citation here is the date and time for the hearing today on the second page.
Second page, okay.
Second paragraph, yep. And also, like, so we did serve this via constable. And this is the constable's receipt. Constable Bondi, he always enjoys when his stuff's on the screen. And so we had two, we had at the abode, I guess Edgar was not home at the time, but Ismelda was, and so she accepted as part of the ownership.
Okay, and Ismelda is
My
one,
wife.
your wife, okay, okay, and she received notice.
Yeah.
Okay,
So with all that being said, I'd like to make the motion that we have proper notice.
any issues with notice in this case that you're
No.
Perfect. There we go.
finding of notice?
Perfect. Okay, so the last thing I will put up here on the screen is on the 22nd, which is actually just this Tuesday, just yesterday. Edgar stopped into our office. Because obviously he got the citation. And so we went over the file. So this is just proof that he came in and basically we had a conversation of to confirm where the shed is on the property. We need a survey. We need something to show that it meets setbacks. It could potentially meet setbacks. We just don't have any proof of this. So based on that need, I did pull up an old file. And I apologize for not copying this onto the presentation, but I'll show it here on the screen. So we had a permit from 2004. Actually, let me stop the share screen here. There we go. So a zoning approval here from 2004 for a roof overhang. And that came with a map. I'll show here. So this is the map that was with that old permit. And the important part of all this, bringing it full circle, is that permit did have a survey with a surveyor, Mr. Leonard. Dealt with him several times in my career. And so based on that, I sent his contact information to Edgar, the property owner, so you can reach out and obtain a survey to try and get the information we need. The other option is, I mean, he can always remove the shed, but if he wishes to keep it, we'll allow him, time what he needs to do to try and legalize it.
Okay.
So in summary, we're looking for the violation to be upheld, that there is a violation. We've already established notice. And just due to the nature of how recent sending of the citation was, there's a very small potential fine. I believe it's only $150 or $300, something like that. Obviously, we always would like to initiate a fine, but in this case, we'll also be okay with a continuance, with the understanding that the next hearing, if things are not resolved, there may be a fine put on.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Mr. Garcia, do you have anything you'd like to add to that, or?
I contact to them.
Okay.
Sorry, but they don't want, but they very busy.
Okay.
They told me it could be like 8 weeks.
Ooh.
But they recommend me try to find somebody Norwalk.
Okay.
They work in Westport and Weston.
Okay.
So I'm just calling them and
All right.
but I think I gotta find somebody.
Okay.
No.
That's fine. Just keep in mind, we can't, the reason I was able to give you the information from Mr. Leonard is because it's in a previous file.
Yeah.
And that's public record. So we can share that. So you're free to hire another surveyor. A little piece of advice I can give that nobody has told me is illegal is that you just Google, go to Google and type in Norwalk land surveyors. And the first 10 that pop up are ones that we've seen their work. So then you just choose whichever one works for you.
Yeah, because they take like 8 weeks is.
Right, that's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Right.
And Mr. Garcia, are you prepared to take all the necessary steps to get all the required zoning approvals for this shed?
Yeah. Like prepare, when you say prefers, talking about the.
Just to bring this all into compliance, you're gonna contact the surveyor, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it looks like, and John, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yep.
you still need zoning.
Right, so
approvals.
you do need a zoning approval, like,
That's what
like what you saw in that.
Yeah,
previous-
So have you started that process, or?
That's what I.
Well, he came in, the only thing he really has to do, it would be to provide the survey showing the shed, hopefully in compliance.
Okay,
And then he fills out the form. There's a small fee, I believe it's $100 or $110. You just pay that as your permitting fee. And then that's a complete application.
okay,
When he's done with the work, we go out doing an inspection, one of the easier inspections we'll ever do. And hopefully everything is tip top. So he's kind of at step one here. He could fill out the application form, but I'll be completely honest, it's kind of worthless until he gets the survey. Exactly.
yeah, okay, then I'm prepared
ready?
to.
Okay,
yes,
so
yes.
here we go. This is the your first decision form.
Yes,
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, we do.
Hey. Not too many people.
am going to make a finding of violation here. Not going to close the hearing. I'm going to continue the hearing till next month, and John will let you know whatever the date of that is.
Mhm.
End of September.
Yeah,
September.
we could, just as, so you're aware, you could, if you want, Attorney Oberst does this all the time, we literally pick up the calendar here. And if you want to arrange one, if you want to continue with you, we can set up a date.
Okay,
Or if you want to just, allow Attorney Oberst to take it, we already have that set up for September, so you can write that into your decision.
okay, so we'll continue this till September for now,
Okay.
assuming it's resolved. Not
Mhm.
going to institute a fine.
Okay,
So we will. The hearing will be continued until September, and we can set up a hearing date now.
Yeah, if you want, yeah. If you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to
why not?
break out the old scheduler there,
Yeah.
I know, and we can get something there. So I know in September, I'm only, other than, obviously the Labor Day holiday, I am only not here on the 28th and 29th. God willing.
Good. How about the September 26th?
26th, yeah, I can do that. I can do that as well. Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. All right, so we'll continue this until September 26th, 2023. There will be no fine as of now. Assuming you take the steps you need to take, and speak with a surveyor. Let's figure out where this
Mhm.
falls, whether it's within the setback or not, whether it's within, whether it complies or not. We need to take the steps to get the zoning approval. Assuming we do that, then we'll be all set.
Good, right.
And obviously, we reserve the right to reserve fines if no further action is taken.
okay,
All right,
yeah.
Good, perfect. So, yeah, so wait,
September
26th, yeah, here, you know,
26th.
here, if you want to write on there, here you go. Yeah.
The time,
Uh,
same time, it's gonna be.
does 3 o'clock work for you?
3 o'clock works. for me.
Sure, all right, we'll do that. And when you do, let's just continue, when you do get a contact with another surveyor, you can either stop in or shoot me an email,
Okay,
whatever works for you.
I will, yeah. They say they very busy, everybody's
Oh.
very busy, but hope they take me before that day.
Perfect. And if any surveyor needs any verification of or anything, like we do work with a lot of them, have them feel free to reach out to me.
I would say too, is if you don't have yeah, I'm assuming you're gonna sign a contract with them or something. If the survey's not done before the 26th, bring a copy of that in.
Okay,
If you can't do it for 8 weeks, then
okay.
you want to show them.
I'll do that.
Yeah, so I think what we need for the next hearing is either resolution or tangible proof that we're taking steps towards resolution, so that could even be the signed contract with the surveyor. Just to demonstrate that you've taken the steps necessary
Okay.
to resolve this issue.
Mhm.
And if we can't see some evidence of resolution or steps taken towards resolution, then we'll have to assess a fine,
No, okay,
okay?
all right. Thank you.
Sure, you're all set.
Okay, done.
You're all set?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That is,
Okay.
that wasn't gonna be that long.
All
All
right. Thank you, guys.
right, thank you. Thanks for coming in.
All right, thanks.
Counselor, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
First one, that's his first one initiation.
The jitters out of the way.
And you don't think anybody else is actually.
The only one on the agenda that, like I said, may come out of the blue is Priscilla, the one, the auto shop. Yeah, the other ones, no, I haven't heard anything from Cedar Street, but I just know him and he's probably not showing up. And then the rest of them, 48 High Street, 8 Winthrop and 2 Cossett already said they're not coming. So basically just one that
What do they say they're not coming?
They just asked if they can get more time, because one of them is working, they couldn't get out of work to come by, and that was on Cosset Street. And the other one just said it's a involved violation and they understand that, so they just asked for a little more time. So, and what was the third one there? Winthrop. Winthrop is, spoiler alert, it's resolved. So
Oh.
basically, he asked if he had to come in. I basically said, no, really. All righty, thank you. All right. All right, so let me get all this out of your way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's yours. You can hold on that.
Recording
Yes,
all of the images?
yes.
That,
It's
Yeah,
just
So
like,
that's like recorded, like, it's got like 5
Mhm.
different, so when you post it online, like it shows like.
Yep.
oh,
It shows like the
almost
Brady
an hour
Bunch, yeah.
YouTube?
I think it actually goes up to 8, like the Brady Bunch, so it's like the Brady Bunch,
Wow, how
Like
could,
it-
like, I was sitting still, I was trying to like,
not move.
yeah, and it still knew I was.
The thing is, it's so sensitive, like I sometimes tell like Attorney Hall or some of the other ones, they're like, just don't bother. Like, just don't say anything you don't wanna say, but if you're gonna move, it's gonna catch you, so just kind of accept it. Oh, it's great, I can't believe they trust me with a piece of equipment like this. That's, I know I wouldn't. Oh. Oh.
Parking okay now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is the good news about having these things at 3 o'clock. Parking's a little more availability than it was if it was like in the morning or.
Is it tough in the morning?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very, yeah. That's good, that's good.
I had an issue with City Hall, but I guess I've only come over here in the afternoon for the most
Yeah,
part.
that's
so.
fair, yeah, yep. Okay, so, so seeing as long as there's anybody there, I'll give a quick check, make sure nobody's sitting on the benches out there. Sometimes no way out there. Oh, man. Sometimes it's just hard to get a crowd. Okay,
Heard about our intimidating new hearing.
yeah, yeah.
That's gotta be it.
So, so what we'll do is we'll go through, the agenda in order. So we have, 79 and 87, Cedar Street. What I will propose, throw a very slight curveball at you out the gate. It is the same owner and the properties are adjacent to each other.
Okay,
So I would like to just proceed, kind of with one presentation rather than divide it up. Because they, both properties have the same violation.
that's what I was.
One property has additional
Okay,
violations, so at least there is a common violation between the both of them.
as long as it's clear which property has the additional violation.
Right, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, yeah,
We can proceed that way.
yeah, all right.
But I
that's
have to issue 2 separate.
two decisions, correct, yep.
Understood, okay.
Actually, that's a perfect counselor, that's a really good question. Same owner, 2 different parcels. He has to do it for each individual parcel ID, right? That decision form, or is it just, we're dealing strictly with ownership here? 5 years doing this, that's a good one, see, look at that, I never would have thought of that.
Safer to do the different parcels, but I give my legal opinions to you.
Yeah,
for the
fair,
record, but-
fair enough. No, that's fine. No worries, it's more procedural, I didn't want to overstep anything, so,
There's a little bit of a difference technically between a zoning lot and a tax assessor parcel, but
perfect.
sometime you could, it's probably just do different.
Yeah, that's fine, we can do that, that works. So, what we'll do is get the old, everybody's favorite share screen up. Got another hall attendee. Sally, Margot? Let me see who they're here for, that's a good thing. Let's see. Hi, Margot, are you there? Oh boy. We already lost one, so that's not a good sign. Alright. Well. Again. I've done my best. Okay, so let's get rid of that.
There's a raise hand option if they need to.
There is, yeah, yep. It says it, some like on down there, so they can do, I would just have to check it at the end of, my presentation here, just to see if it's. Cause it'll pop up, I believe, here, where it'll pop up. So I'll just leave that open for now, why not? Okay, so, share screen. And we'll go here. And so 79 Cedar Street, we'll do that, we'll do numerical here. Here is the memo.
Thank you.
You got it. All right. Whenever you're ready, but just, because, so it's just, sometimes it's turn not to throw his name out there again, we turn it over to, sometimes he likes to read the whole thing,
Mhm.
if it's a long one.
Okay,
He knows if it's a short one, like only like the first one,
Yeah.
he knows I'm gonna be long-winded enough, he can get through it before it, I realize he's done, so. But it is pretty straightforward, this one,
yeah,
so.
yeah. No, I'm all set.
All right,
Please
perfect.
Proceed.
Perfect. So, we got the initial complaint here all the way back in, February of 2023. Hopefully it'll make a little sense going forward as to why we had to wait so long. But this was for, as you can see in the highlighted section, 2 junk vehicles, 2 junk boats, backhoe, dump truck. Now it was filed under 87 Cedar Street, and I think when you see the next, photo, you'll see why we, are dealing with number 79 and not 87 here. So that's the second page of the complaint. So this property, and I'll give you the pictures here. So they have 3 pictures I'm gonna submit as exhibits here. So the house itself, they see in the picture, the structure, that is 87 Cedar Street. So but however, everything from the house to me at the camera is 79.
Okay,
It's a small parcel that is supposed to be designated for parking for not only for 87's use, but also the parcel behind me, number 77.
okay. So
So
there's no improvements on 79 or
there
no
are
structures.
there's no structures
No
on 79,
structures.
correct, yep. And I'll probably move down just a little bit more here for the folks at home, a little bit of a wider view here. And I think the second, I think the second photo depicts the violation on this particular parcel a lot better. So 79 strictly just has a violation for parking in the front setback, meaning created a parking surface within the required setback. That is not permitted. Fortunately for the property owner, the resolution would be, it had the front setback's only 5 feet from the front property line, which, to put cherry on it, in this case, is the back of the sidewalk. So it only has to be basically a 5-foot buffer, if you will. That's a common way of putting it. So, and the reason and now go to the third picture as well. This is a bit of a shot straight down, so you get a bit of an idea where the 5 feet kind of would be. So here's the edge of the sidewalk. Here, and it didn't come out as gray as I thought it would, but this is the raised curb, and then this is a drop curb so this would be the entrance to the parking lot.
Okay,
So basically, you can have, obviously your entry can be within the setback, that can be paved, but anything going this way or towards me would have to be that 5-foot buffer.
okay,
And then once you get past the 5 feet, per our current regulations, you can pave the whole darn thing. you don't want.
So the 5 foot buffer can't be paved.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be landscaped, it could be trees, it can be simply grass. It can be
Understood.
grass separated with a little, we even take, thick Belgian blocks or, railroad ties.
Okay.
So there, the solution's a little simple there. So so next, photo I'm gonna present is actually now this was back in March. The next photo is from June. Now I'll explain the big gap. And it has to relate to number 87. So basically, there's a multi-department investigation into number 87 for the fire marshal for safety, health department occupancy, and sanitation. So we were working with the fire marshal and the health department and the blight office. As you can tell, the house is a little seen better days. So we're working together, and that caused a little gap for this one, because for the parking in the front setback, zoning is the only agency involved.
Okay.
So it kind of got put on the back burner just a little bit. But in this photo from June 27th, much more easier to see the drop curb. So basically here, let me bring that up a little bit. So basically, here's from here and 5 feet back, that has to be the buffer going this way, going towards the left. And then the 5 foot between here and that's a little off the screen, but right here, that's the access to the parking area.
Yeah, so
And then
that's,
going to the other side has
that's
to be
paved,
buffered.
that's
Yep.
fine.
Right.
Understood, okay.
And then again, once you get past the 5 foot, you can pave right as however you want.
Okay.
In zoning's eyes. Stormwater management may have something about that, but not us. So based on that and the completion of a little bit more thorough investigation on the neighboring property, on July 5th, we sent to the owner of record, which is Ernest and Terry Rafa. Again, this is the tax information, the tax assessor sheet. 87 Cedar Street now that's what it is on the tax record. However, and spoiler alert, during our investigation for number 87 Cedar Street, there's a secondary address which actually ends up being his home address, which is on Spring Hill.
Okay.
So we sent notice to that address. And here's the actual notice form here, notice letter.
Okay, so the notice of violation for 79 Cedar Street.
Yep.
Was sent to 72
To
Spring Hill, which
correct,
is listed as the owner's address on
For-
tax card, field card.
for
87,
87, correct,
Gotcha,
yep.
understood.
Yeah, and the property is pretty much vacated, just by the look, you can just tell he's not living there. So,
If anyone's living there, is it?
well, on 79, there's no structure, so he's definitely not living there. And on 87, that structure is mostly vacated.
Okay,
There's a
okay.
tenant in there that probably shouldn't be there.
Okay.
But and all that aside, we were able to get a return by sending to 72 Spring Hill. We were able to get the green card signed, and I took that signature as Ernest, and I will say yes. He did not print it, but I will take that as a signature.
Yeah, that looks to me to say Ernest and.
Yeah, so it's so based on that, I said, okay, well, we got some notice, we got the green card here, so again, as with the previous property, I let the statutory limitations for response or remedy to run out. And my colleague Lee, again, the land use what's her exact name? Land use assistant, yeah. Land use assistant, or compliance inspector. She took those pictures for me again, and same thing, nothing has changed at the property. That's basically what these show. This structure that's in the picture, this is number 77 Cedar Street.
Okay,
That's the other property that would share parking
okay,
here. And it is used for, it is, lack of better terms, it's a single family house with a bodega, with a deli here. So there's not a ton of traffic, it's mostly foot traffic, but occasionally there is a vehicle park here. Just not that frequently. So based on that, no change. We sent a citation to the owner of record. And we sent that via constable service. And on that citation again, same paragraph, the second to last one. Showing today's date and time for the hearing. And this is Constable Bondi's service and 272 Spring Hill Ave. And that is where he found Mr. Rafa. So it validates him further. The 72 Spring Hill is his address. I'm sure, as we all know through our dealings, tax assessor's information at times can be a little behind, so it was good to get a confirmation that he's there.
okay, so based upon the fact that Ernest M. Rafa Jr. was served in hand at 72 Spring Hill Avenue, Norwalk, Connecticut, by the constable, I will make a finding of notice.
Perfect. Okay, so like I said, this one's fairly easy, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm going too quickly, but I will put this out here. So as it may seem, I may have some familiarity here with this property. This property, for the same exact violation, has gone through this process before. This citation process with Attorney Olvers. And I'll give you the whole packet and I'll run it through there. So Attorney Olvers back in 2019 issued a $3,000 fine for the property. It was a request for judgment sent to Superior Court. And as you see on the bottom, the judgment was affirmed on June 17th, 2019. And based on that, we filed a lien on the property, which to my knowledge is still there. And just as a matter of establishing the record, this was the case lookup for that. They'll do proper information. Then all the follow-up documentation are all these links here, which were provided by Corporation Counsel for Norwalk. And again, there's the request for judgment from Attorney Olbers, the hearing officer, for $3,000, signed by the court, our certification of service. And then this was a copy of the notice of violation, the initial notice of violation. And then Attorney Olbers' decision form on May 8th, 2019, finding that the violation continued $150 a day, starting 5/9. By state statute, we have to wait approximately 30 days, which we did. That's how we got the total of $3,000 for that fine. So that has been affirmed and filed with the courts and filed on our land records. The reason why I wanted to present that today, all this today, is to show that the owner is clearly aware of this. There is no doubt that this was a problem and it still is a problem. And there's been no steps made to remedy it. And last but not least, just because I knew this was going to be your first go around with this file, this is just a quick map, our internal GIS map, showing an aerial photo of the property in question. And as you can see, yeah, here's the parcel on the right-hand side, got a little red star, it's highlighted. And as you see, there's no 5 foot, that 5 foot buffer was just taken out. And no, it's not there. And it wasn't there in 2019 either.
Yeah.
So, so basically that is, that's my presentation. It's still here. The reason it's brought back is we got the complaint on 87, by virtue of investigating 87. It was a clear and obvious observation that 79 was still in violation. And seeing as the $3,000 fine back in 2019 didn't seem to do the trick. Our office felt that maybe bringing it back here to start the clock again for another lien would be appropriate.
Okay,
So then that's what we're looking for, uphold the violation, and it is another relatively small fine, I believe $300. Our position here is, we'd rather see it, we always have the freedom to assess that, but we would not be opposed to kicking it, as they say, to the next hearing to allow that amount to go up a little bit. This frankly, I don't see this being resolved in the next 30 days, so I am okay with that as well. If it somehow miraculously is solved in the next 30 days, then I will be pleasantly surprised. And I'll be okay with this, my request.
okay, well, thank you. So I will make a finding for 79 Cedar Street.
Correct, yep.
So I will find a violation. And I am concerned by the fact that this violation has existed for a number of years and that there's been a prior action and then a judgment lien or a lien on the property and nothing's been done to remedy it. I will adopt the recommendations of staff and kick this out until 30 days or until the September, it can be the same.
Yeah, it could be,
September date.
yeah, why not? We've already
Yeah.
established, why not? I'm okay with that. Yeah, sure.
What did we use for that date?
26th.
September 26th. All right, so let's, going to continue
Right,
continue the hearing to September 26th, 2023. I believe we said 3
3
p.m.
o'clock, yep.
I am finding a violation. At this time, I'm not going to assess a fine related to this violation. But unless the violation is remedied by the next, this September 26th hearing, or there've been substantial steps taken to remedy the defect, then we're gonna move forward with the fine, that's in the city's ordinances of $150 a day.
Fair, very fair. I get this. No hand raised, so. I think if we hit the one that she's here for, we'll get a hand pretty quick.
Slow writing all
Oh,
this
no,
out.
no, that's all right. That's
Trying to write legibly.
not a problem. I'm used to
Yeah.
being a part-time stenographer for our usual hearing officer.
Well, I warn you now, it's not. Penmanship isn't great.
I can appreciate that. I went to public school, so I totally appreciate that. I didn't get anything across the knuckles, so definitely appreciate that. Oop, there. And yeah. That. Relation. Notice. 7. 3. Go. Okay, oh, think I need that.
Yep.
Yep,
There
thank
you
you.
go.
I think, oh, way to go. Okay. 2, 3. Yeah. Yeah, put that on top. Okay, now we'll go to 87, which I'll start just very quickly saying that it's the same property owner. See that? Yep. Same property owner, so which should make it hopefully a little bit easier, because we started sending the notice to the same same place, save on services. So let's see, 87 Cedar Street. I already have. Yeah, I always have support to have it. Always I
Excellent.
have them all. That's certainly good. Okay, so. Hurry up there, yeah. This one's gonna have a little bit more substance because there's a couple of more violations in addition to the parking in the front setbacks. So let me. Get the share screen going again. There we go. So as previewed before, got the complaint on February 25th, 2023 for 87 Cedar Street. That's it should look familiar.
It's the same.
It's the same one, right?
complaint received.
Correct. Yep. So. Yeah, they're saying junk vehicles, junk boats, backhoe, dump truck. And there's the 2 pages of the complaint. All right, so. There we are. Okay, so here are the photos for 87 Cedar Street.
Thank you.
Sure. So this is the other side of that house that you saw in on 79. Again, the structure itself is known as 87 Cedar Street. So on that say, again, you're gonna see a lot of inspection dates being the same as number 79. So we have a boat, we have unregistered vehicle and another boat. And we'll go to the next picture here. This truck is considered a commercial truck by the city of Norwalk standards because basically we go by the state statute of what is a commercial vehicle, which is basically anything over a 1-ton rated capacity. Now 95% of folks that walk into our office don't quite grasp what that is. So I tell folks anything that is anything above 1 axle is a dual axle or triaxle is considered a 1-ton vehicle. Sometimes a single axle vehicle can be considered a 1-ton rated, and we address those on a case by case basis. But generally we take that a dual axle is over a 1-ton capacity, and this vehicle here is a dual axle. You got the 2 wheels in the back, and also an excavator just for good measure. And we also have a photo of the door, Rafa's Roofing, that roofing contractor. So the reason that's important is because it is establishing that this is a commercial storage area, a commercial contractor storage area, which is not permitted in the zone. That is section 118.532, which is gonna be, you'll see that. Storage of contractor equipment is not permitted in the zone. Lastly, for our first initial inspection, this is in front of the building at number 87, and as you can see, there is just all asphalt in front of it. There's no buffer, and here's a little bit better angle of it. And this actually kind of shows, here's where it starts to go down for number 79's access. And then on the other side, you can also see where the curb drops down for 87. So anything that is in between these 2 curb cuts, these 2 curb drops, I should say, needs that 5-foot buffer, and is not there. Look, it's a 5-foot buffer. If you can somehow get a small vehicle in there, the rules are what they are. You can get it in there, you can make it asphalt, whatever. The rules are what they are. But there's not even the 5-foot buffer. So, and then we'll move on to June 23rd. We actually had a follow-up complaint. Don't get those too often. But this was sent to our office, and somebody was actually kind enough to leave their name and contact, so I can follow up with them, and they seem not to mind that they're now publicly known in the file to the owner of record.
Okay,
So
so this was not the original complainant.
no, not at least not that I know
Or
of.
not that
Yeah,
we know.
correct.
Okay.
So as a way of background, just sort of going forward for these, in general, we do not accept anonymous complaints.
Okay.
Now, state statute says that you can and should accept anonymous complaints. We've taken the policy of not accepting anonymous complaints in general, Because we have had problems in the past with people filing frivolous complaints, or even if they were legitimate complaints, we had, shall we say, neighborhood warriors that would go out and peg 10 to 12 violations on a street and submit that as one complaint.
Yeah.
With only one enforcement officer, that's not preferred. So, but on the flip side, there is two methods of still accepting an anonymous complaint. A, if there's valid and proven reason for people feeling threatened by potentially leaving their name, as that can be somewhat validated, we'll take an anonymous complaint. And also, the initial complaint here actually came through the mayor's office. The
Okay,
mayor's office can accept, and they still do accept anonymous complaints, and they'll just see, oh, this is a zoning matter, they'll forward it down to us. So those are the only two ways you can get anonymous complaints, but they do happen.
okay.
But even regardless, we got that one there, so that kind of saved us anyway. They kind of saved the bacon on the day, so. And so based on that, seeing as we got that complaint, we went back out and did one more inspection. And this was on, June 27th. Kind of went in reverse order on this inspection. Started with the parking in the front, still there. And then a little more of a wider shot. I took my chances in traffic and slowed down and kind of tried to get a wide shot. So a little bit of change. One boat is gone. As compared to the first photo there. There is now, though, an unregistered van that wasn't there before. The excavator was removed. Also, there is a random AC unit sitting there. Don't see that every day. But on the flip side, the contractor vehicle is still there, the truck, one boat and trailer is still there, and an unregistered vehicle, the red Dodge there is still there. And a little bit of close-ups, there's the unregistered vehicle, no plates, looks like it hadn't, I think, now that I think about it, it was probably very well hidden behind the excavator, because I did not see it the first time around. It may have been well hidden, I don't, because that looks like it hasn't moved in a long time. So, but regardless of whether it got there on its own, was it?
Yeah, that is possible.
It could be back there.
Behind the dumpster, difficult to tell from these pictures. But
Right, so it could be there, but
Could be there.
the idea, on June 27th, it was there.
It was there.
So, and then again, these three items are still there, plus a random AC unit. Interesting. So based on the initial inspections, the complaint, and the follow-up inspection and complaint, we sent to, again, owner of record for 87 Cedar Street, which was Ernest and Terry Rafa, as we saw for number 79. So we sent notice to, again, 72 Spring Hill. Now, here's the fascinating thing about that. We got the return green card, certified mail receipt for number 79, but we did not get it for 87 Cedar Street, even though they both went to the same place. And in theory, a mailman should be delivering it the same day.
Were the letters mailed the same?
Yep, yeah, I can verify that.
Go
Yeah,
back to my notes here.
definitely get that, and I can.
Yeah, July 5th and July 5th,
Yep.
so.
They were, so why? That's a great mystery sometimes what the post office does. We still haven't quite figured them out yet. So, but given that, I fully admit we did not get anything back for that. So, but we still press on. Now this goes back to the little mention I made of that this was an investigation by other agencies as well. And I conducted an inspection with the fire marshal's office. This is the one thing I would submit here, a crossover with Inspector Dave Burrows from the fire marshal's office. And I will scoot down here to get that going. There's the notice for those of you at home, outlining everything. So basically, this is Dave saying they have as a multifamily, they have some occupancy issues. And you see with egress and all that, because of, on that day, on the 11th is when we did our inspection. And this was his little summary to me, which is greatly appreciated. And the photos there, again, on that day, same thing, parking in the front. This is a little more detailed of the property. The only reason I include these is I try to drive the point home that in some of these situations, the property owner is not being the greatest citizen of Norwalk, and it's just to show that it's not just a simple thing. He has no room to put his boat or something like that. This is with other agencies. There's, for example, they have 3 electrical meters, multifamily. But the problem lies, and then if you look at the next picture, this one's a fun one. Yeah, there's a hole in the back of the house. Yeah, not really a zoning issue. But yeah, that first step's a doozy after up to the second floor there. So, and I hope they're not doing their laundry out there. Anyway. But then also in the back of the property, we got ladders showing that there's still commercial storage there. And these look relatively new and fresh. So my assertion with this is that he is actively using it as a contractor storage yard. And then the last 3 photos are just showing, as you can tell from the email from the fire marshal saying that the 3rd floor of the attic was not supposed to be occupied. The 3rd floor here, the electrical meter has wattage going to it. Why would, if it's vacant, why would it have wattage? Go down to the 2nd floor, it has nothing. As the fire marshal said, it's gutted. So there's probably just a light bulb on. So thing is, it's not supposed to be upstairs occupancy, but why is there that much wattage going there? So we couldn't get in to confirm any of this, but it's a good way. And then this is the 1st floor meter as well. So based on all that, I came back to my humble abode here in the office and checked the tracking for our notice of violation. And there's the certified mail number there on top, ending in 9660. And according to this, could not access delivery location to your package. Again, which seems kind of odd because of the fact they were able to deliver 79's notice with no problem. So based on that, rather than waiting around and hoping for the best from the post office, I took the idea to send a notice of violation, however, a second one via constable service.
This was 7/27, July 27th.
Yes, correct. Yep. And it's the same exact document that was sent previously on the 5th. Just changed the date on top for new sending, new service, and to add constable service to it. And just before I put it in the mail too, I also checked again. And UPS, the post service is still not delivered. So I gave up on that route. But I gave this to our Constable Bondi, and just as before, even though this is a notice, not a citation, he found Mr. Rafa, same thing, in hand service at 72 Spring Hill. And yeah, and so I finally got him for both properties via that service. So starting on the 28th, letting state statute limitations run out on the notice. Our land use technician and compliance inspector. Lee took these follow-up photos on August 18th, fairly recent. So there's the same song, same verse here, a different tempo. Unregistered van is still there. We have the AC unit still there. And now we still have the commercial vehicle, the boat, the red Dodge or Chrysler, I should say, unregistered. And then there's a car parked on the end. Now, whether that's the owner, a tenant, or whatever, the photo was taken to show that as the property, if you recall, curls around, it gets narrower to the street. In all likelihood, that car is at least partially in the front setback.
Okay,
So, I mean, maybe there's a chance it may not be, but it is parking in the front. What I can do is, do I have that map on here? I do not. Let me grab the map for 79 Cedar. If you want a little reference there, we already submitted. That's for those of us at home, for those of you at home, that's the map I submitted for 79 Cedar Street. Just using it as a quick reference for 87, because it is also included in the aerial photo.
yeah, this helps give some context here, because you can see the red
Right.
vehicle. Yeah. So it's
In all likelihood, that,
close, it's very,
Yeah.
very close, no, yeah.
and then, but then even so, even if the car wasn't there, because I'm gonna assume in the aerial photo, that gray car is kind of parked where that other one is in the aerial photo. Or whatever that is there, it could be a dumpster, whatever that is. But at the end of the day, there's still a parking surface there, whether they're actually using it for parking is irrelevant to zoning. There's a hard surface there, so that has to be taken out. So based on the follow-up inspections, we sent a citation to the owner of record. And once again, that has today's hearing date on it. 23rd, 2023, 3 p.m. And once again, service, and because now I've shown you all the services, I can let you in on a little fun factoid about this. Our constable Peter Bondi, actually went to middle school and high school with Mr. Rafa. They actually know each other. So he was able to track him down and actually have conversations with him. I'll put it on the record, I don't care. That I fully believe Peter, our constable, has had more interaction with the property owner regarding his violations than I have.
Okay,
And that's not a good thing. I'm sure Peter was being somewhat of a friend to him, trying to help him a little bit, but that's not good. He needs to be contacting me. And again, last but not least, as with number 79, we get through here, we have lien placement from 2019. This is the that little receipt there in the corner that you see, that is our town clerk receipt for filing on land records. And this was the judgment. The second page is a little clearer as the judgment lien official paperwork. And then just like 79, the current that case's information, all the copies submitted to the court. Attorney Oberst's request for judgment, again, $3,000. That was again upheld by the court on 6/17/19, just like number 79. And the supporting documentation which was sent. Again, nothing to make a ruling on here, just a little point, drive the point home that this was, again, this is not unbeknownst to the property owner. So he needs to, we're back here again, same thing. We want to get another lien on the property, ratchet up the dollar amount a little bit, because obviously he's not quite getting it here. And let me just go real quick to one last thing I want to show. This is from, and so you get a little zoning history every now and again with these things. Right here. This is very far, not very, 30 years. 1994 permit for the property, 87 Cedar Street. So basically, there's not much, the permit was for some renovations, there, it says there's two-bedroom units there. I'm not even going with the use of the building. I am gonna let the fire marshal and health department kind of guide me if I need to do any enforcement on that. But what this permit does show, even back in the day, is a survey with showing the setback line. Now, the one thing I will point out is a little education for everybody involved here. So back when in 1994, this was a different zone. It was a back then it was a neighborhood business zone and business. So it was neighborhood business. The setback at the time was 35 feet from the center line of the street. Center line of Cedar Street, even more restrictive than what it is today. This was never done. Even though the setback is here, permit was issued, and if you look there on the permit, there's a little note from the officer that basically says there's approximately 7 to 8 parking spaces. Long and short of it though here is there was no confirmation at that time whether that parking area was legal or not.
Okay.
And just as a last nugget, the officer that signed that was actually our director, Michael Green, at the time. So my assumption is he was very careful with that wording because he didn't know, but he didn't want to legalize what he saw on this survey.
Yeah.
That he was being very careful. Mike Green is he's a legendary zoning guy in our town. So he kind of knew what he was doing. He didn't want to outright deny the permit, but he also wanted to keep it open that, hey, I'm not agreeing to what's, and also if you do see that attached map, he does not make any reference to, he makes no references in his, he doesn't even have his signature on here. Or if he does, it's hidden somewhere, but if he does, yes. Oh, that is his. It got
Yeah.
cut off on this one. Okay, fair enough.
That's-
That is his, but again, because on the permit here, he did not accept what was there
Yeah,
as.
that's what I mean.
And the thing is, if we went out and this permit's still quote unquote open, it's active. It's still active. So if somebody had gone out and inspected and saw that was a problem, it would have been fixed. Or conversely, somebody could have gone out there and done absolutely nothing about it, given a certificate, and the certificate's issued, that's it.
Yeah.
Can't go back on it. So because no certificate was issued and Mr. Green did not address it in his permit, this configuration that you see in this one and only approval for 87 Cedar Street that we have on file, the parking in the front setback really was never addressed. And so I'm gonna make the assumption that it's a violation still today. And in fact, I'm giving him a break by sending him the violation today because he doesn't have to do nearly as much landscaping as he would have had to do back then.
Yes, correct.
So I'm not gonna hold him to that standard. So that's, again, same thing. What we're looking for is just the violation to be upheld. And we'll be definitely revisiting this one to, let's say up the ante, if you will.
Okay, so first and foremost, as with 79 Cedar Street, I will make a finding of notice. Confused and slightly concerned as to why the original return receipt, the certified mail, did not come back, the green card. Regardless, I think the city in this case did the right thing and had the constable go out and, two in hand services, both the notice of violation and the citations. I will find notice, first of all.
Excellent.
As with also similar to 79 Cedar Street, I will find a violation here. As the maximum current fine down is $300. I am still concerned about the fact that we have this judgment, this lien on the property This was all raised back in originally 2019. I believe you said,
2019, yep.
and nothing has been done. The issues have not been corrected. So I am also going to, as I said, make a finding of violation, continue the hearing to our September 26th hearing date, 3 p.m. Not going to institute a fine at this time, but if the issues are not remedied, or if there's not tangible evidence of imminent compliance or substantial work being done to comply with the zoning regulations, then we will impose, we'll address a fine at that time. But again, the $150 a day, as per the Norwalk ordinance.
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully we don't get there. Hopefully we get something. out
Hopefully
of
we
it.
don't get that.
It's out here.
Spend a lot of order.
No, no, not at all. No, yeah, you see how it normally is here. It's a bit of a tornado most times, so this is actually very appreciative. Things are like this. And fire marshal stuff. Good. Paperwork can be, some of these can be extensive when they're, it's all about a long time ago. You gotta establish your record. You gotta establish. And so it can be a bit long-winded at times, but I'd rather overdo it than rather
Exactly.
overcook it than undercook it.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Right, I'll take this back that we use. June, perfect,
The decision and the memo.
perfect, thank you.
And just let me know if there's anything on the decisions that isn't legible, or if there's anything I am omitting.
Oh, that's fantastic, I can read it, thank you.
Okay.
That's-
Good.
man, everything else after that is it's a bonus. And that goes there. Ah. Okay, so the next one will probably end up being High Street, 48 High Street. And I will get this. A 48 High Street is not nearly as cumbersome as that one.
Yeah, much smaller.
Much
but
smaller, that's a good thing. So that's the memo there.
Thank you.
Put that here. And let's see here. Very good. This one has a little bit of a slight backstory here. Yeah, so as you may or may not be aware, the city of Norwalk is actually doing a comprehensive zoning revision and rewrite. So the reason I start with that is, when that word gets out, people generally start to be concerned about what's going on with zoning around them. Because now it's in their forefront, now they see it. So when we presented that back in June, and it hasn't been official yet. Probably January, maybe February it'll be official. So we got an inquiry basically stating, this is from a concerned citizen via the mayor's office, that High Street is a disaster. There's so many contractors there. It's an absolute mess. So when we get something like that, we tend to, say, okay, let's see how bad it is, because we don't get that too often. So we generally will go down the street, and as we are permitted to, via state statute, if we see a clear and obvious violation from the public realm, right of way, driveway, things of that nature, we can start zoning enforcement. We have that ability. Typically, we want to do things on complaints, which we did receive from the mayor, from the mayor's office and concerned citizen. We tend to like them to be a little more specific, but good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so the complaint received was not specific to 40 High Street.
No, it was not.
just High Street in general.
Yeah, High Street.
Contractors,
Yeah, and let me in.
storage. Okay.
Yeah, and they weren't far off. And not just that, speaking out of not just 48.
Yes.
They were not far off from
Okay.
their assertion. So this is just the first one to come in front of a hearing. At the moment, there'll be more. I have a feeling. And so based on that, we went through, and the reason why this one is first, because we felt here as staff, this was the most egregious.
Okay.
And so I think the pictures will say 1,000 words. I think and so basically, what I'll end with that is, even though we technically do not have a handwritten complaint, it's just like me. I take the train every day. If I see a violation on my way in, because I am the zoning inspector, I can start enforcement. It's just, as a policy, we tend not to do that because there's only one of me, and I want to leave here some time during the day. So we'll start with, so we got that initial inquiry, I believe it was on the 26th or 27th of June. So short order afterwards, after the 4th of July holiday, we went out, did our sweep, did our little walk down High Street. High Street's not a huge street. If you ever look down on a map, it's easily walkable. So 48 was the big kahuna here. And what I'll do is, since I have it up here, I can actually show you. I'll do a little Google map just to show you where this is in town.
Yeah, I was gonna say, generally, I think I know where this is,
Yeah.
but this will
Yeah, no, definitely,
certainly help.
Yep. So here's Route 1, and Stu Leonard's obviously is there. So there's Route 1. This is East Avenue. This is the green, and this is High Street.
Okay.
Main Street is here. I can zip in a little more. We have another really good taco truck over here. That's on the corner of Route 1 and Main. High Street is dead in the middle here. That connects down to Wall Street.
Okay.
Here, it's a connector street from Route 1 to Wall Street.
And it's High Street one way.
High Street is one way,
Okay.
yes. So the property in question is here, which is the old VFW location. And we'll throw on the aerial photo just for kicks and giggles here. So this is it right here. We'll ignore this part for now. This here is the property in question. And we can even do a little, if you look at it from Route 1, you can't tell much. That's it from Route 1. Doesn't look like much. But when you go down High Street, You see, now this picture was taken in 2019. So there was just, it looked like some people in the neighborhood were just parking there.
Yeah.
Because the VFW has been vacant for gotta be 10 years now, at least more than that. So,
But this is one parcel including the old VFW.
right, yeah, it's all one
Okay.
parcel, yep. So, and here it is on the pictures there. This is the VFW here. And as you can see, we have an excavator, you have material storage here. Up in the front, you have tools and equipment. On the left-hand side, we have another excavator here towards the front, adjacent to the passenger vehicles. And then you have masonry, storage, and block along the side property line there. A little bit of a wider shot, we have a large trailer on the left-hand side of the property adjacent to the VFW. Again, a lot of wash, rinse, and repeat, masonry material, big excavator. Then the third photo, again, is a little more closer of the south side or right-hand side of the property. Oh, I have a fourth one, look at that. Was snagged one as I was walking away. Yeah, you can kind of see a little more detail here. This is freshly dropped off mason material stored behind the VFW, the old VFW. So based on that, we've got a pretty clear indication this is being used as an active contractor storage yard. So based on that, we sent a notice of violation to the owner of record.
Thank you.
Yeah, and owner of record, we have a couple sheets there because it's an LLC. Typically what we do with an LLC is we would then go to the state's business registry website, formerly known as Concord. And we get the members of the LLC, the managers, the agents, because we send it to the LLC 9 times out of 10, it doesn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a blank address. So we have members, Gino Vona, and another principal is Nicolina, Lisa West. And so the two addresses, we sent to 2 addresses of record on Concord, and the agent is Maria Vona, who, little spoiler alert, that is Gino's wife. So saved on mailing there. I just send that to the same address. And here is the notice indicating that. So the notice was sent certified to Nicolina Lisa West, who's one of the members of the 48 High Street LLC, which is the owner of tax record. The violations for storage, utilization of a property within a central business district zone for a commercial contractor storage yard, which is not permitted in the zone. Let's see, and then we got what's it correct, and then also copied on there Gino and Maria Vona, the members and agent. And last but not least, this is just from, so what's the old saying, institutional knowledge. I've dealt with Mr. Vona on several occasions on other properties, and I happen to remember he is represented by a local counsel, attorney Tom Vetter, of Keogh, Burkhardt and Vetter. They're on Wall Street. And so I copied, as a courtesy, I copied attorney Vetter. Since that email, I've not heard anything from attorney Vetter, so that means one of two things. He's gone to a golf course and retired, which that's what he does best, or he is no longer representing Mr. Vona and doing the smart thing by not responding. I think it's the second. Could be the first though. So yeah, based on that, I after sending to attorney Vetter, let some time pass. This was another one that I have, and this one was even stranger. God bless them, USPS. I have not received a return of service. I've not return receipt. However, again, my lovely USPS tracking shows that it was indeed delivered. Confirmation delivered to the individual at the Fairfield address, which if you look on the notice, that is where Nicolina does reside.
Catamount. Yeah, we've had that happen
It's-
several times. We don't get the card, physical card, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
check online.
My guess, it flies out the truck. That's my,
That's
it's a little tiny thing that just flies out the,
a good
Truck.
guess. So let me just make sure. 93. Catamount Road. 93 Catamount Road. Galena. Okay.
so based on that, and based on the fact that at least something from USPS is telling me it was delivered. Again, ran out the clock on, state statute for, response. Again, one sent Lee, our land use technician compliance inspector, out on August 18th. And a lot of the same. We have a large excavator. Piles on both sides of the property of masonry material and stone and block. The one thing I also wanted to show, and you can kind of see it on this photo, and I have other photos that will explain it a little bit better, but where the excavator is, if you notice, he's facing the adjacent property. There's a gap there in the wall and the fence. There is a contractor's yard adjacent to that, also owned by the Vonas.
Okay.
They are using this property as access to, as you can see a little bit through the tree here, a storage structure for material. Because it's very easy. The other property is very tight. In fact, we'll bring up Google Maps here one more time. Just so you can get an idea. Here we go. Zip it in. So a quick idea here, the property next door is a lot tighter. So this is the property, here's that storage tent structure. It's a lot tighter to try and get a large excavator in this property. So what they're doing is they're coming in this way through here, and you can actually even see the tracks that's being left out on this aerial photo. Coming through here and out that way, out back on the high street. So we may be seeing this one later. There's a little more that we have to do.
Okay,
To it, but it's-
that was gonna be my next question.
Yeah, well, we will be seeing, probably seeing that. You or Gary, maybe one of you will be seeing it. It's just this one is a little more complex history.
Okay.
But that being said, I will confidently say that they are using it, the 48 High Street with the VFW as access to this. Legality of this structure to be yet to be determined, not here to debate that today, but just more of an observation as to what's going on. And second, third, there we go. So this is again wide shot of everything. Did I double up? I did double up. Look at that. Some belts and suspenders. So based on that, we have citation sent to the same owners. Same to sent to Nicolina West, 48 High Street LLC. On the first page this time, it shows today's hearing and time. And again, also sent to Gina Maria Vona in Newtown. Now, here's where it's a little fun. On the same day, or day after, I should say, I have a email from Nicolina West. And they have received, it's confirming they received one of my letters. I doubt it was the citation because that'd be
that's
lightning speed.
very quick.
I don't think I could deliver it that fast. So my guess is they finally got the notice somehow, way, shape, or form, and that's their response. And however, of course, I'm sure as you've picked up on already, we do belts and suspenders here. That is Constable Bondi Service to 48 High Street LLC, care of Nicolina West, up in Fairfield. I'm sure the mileage reimbursement on that was nice, and in hand. Well, and I don't have much more. I got a little bit. One more. There we
Okay.
go. one more, couple more
Let me
items.
jump in with a notice.
If you want, yeah,
since we-
you could do that, yeah, if you wanna make that note, because you don't have to put on your decision form, you just make a note on the record.
Yeah, I'll jump into it now, based on the finding, that the constable served Nicolina West, member of 48 High Street LLC in hand at her 293 Catamount Road, Fairfield address. In addition to the, initial notice of, violation being sent by certified mail to the same address and regular mail, correct me. to
Yeah, we
the other
do
member
both,
and the
yeah.
Agent, okay,
But we do the agent, so the owner of record,
yes,
this will, for the folks at home as well. The owner of record on the tax form, we send certified and regular, and if need be, constable. Anything else that's under there, so if there's, like I said, the agents or other members, we only send regular mail. Our budget's only so big.
Mhm.
We can, if we think we got a nibble of a better contact than what's on the tax record, we'll send constable service to one of the members. In this case, we didn't need to do that, but we have done that in the past. But our mode of procedure is whatever's on the tax form gets both, if not all three.
okay. Well, based upon the in-hand service of the citation and the indication that the certified notice of violation was received and delivered to an individual at the Fairfield address, the 293 Catamount Road Fairfield address, I will find notice.
Perfect. So, so like I said, these pictures were taken after, again, our land use tech Lee was very kind. She likes going out in when it's nice out. Got some pictures in response to the email we got from Nicolina on the 19th. These photos were taken just yesterday on the 22nd. Now, most of the property has been remedied. The excavators are gone, the material's gone. However, I apologize for saying it this way, the mafia blocks that, I know it's kind of not a great term to use, the bin blocks, I guess you can call them. Those are still there. Those are considered by Norwalk, and there's plenty of precedent we have for this, that is considered contractor material. So therefore it cannot be there. Full honesty, I would believe somebody told me that's just acting as a divider between the properties. I would believe that. Obviously, there's no bins there, so it's just acting as a barrier between the two properties. However, just their presence there is not permitted. Even if their use may not be, that might be the intent of the use.
Okay.
But, as I said before, a little preview, got a little bit better shot here of the gate that leads into that tent structure. So basically that's showing that they have that is a gate there. It is, lead get a pretty good shot, but you can see here's the slats in the gate. Right adjacent to the left-hand side of the mafia blocks, bin blocks. So you see there's a slatted fence there, and it's divided in the middle. So I am much more certain now they're using that they're using 48 High Street as access to the adjacent property, which that is not permitted anywhere in Norwalk. You cannot traverse a use that is not already either a contractor's use or an industrial use. You cannot traverse any other use on a property to get to an industrial use.
Okay.
That's an old standing rule from back in the days when there was industrial uses behind every property in Norwalk. That's how this country was at one point. So that's to prevent that going forward. The only use that was ever permitted here, not ever, the most recent use that was permitted here was the VFW, which is considered a social club or like a neighborhood association. That's how that would be classified. If somebody wanted to put a VFW up somewhere, that's how we would classify it here in Norwalk. And then second to last. So I did because if somebody emails me, I respond, as that's what a good government official should do. So this is my email I sent, granted this morning, but I wanted to get the pictures from our inspection and get some concise thoughts to the property owner. And something, if you, this is one that's a little interesting, I did mention in there, the middle paragraph. This whole neighborhood has had a history, starting with the parents and the patriarch, matriarch of the Vonos who are there now. What uses were legal, what uses weren't legal. In my time here, there were some pretty good debates and legal battle over what's there and what's not supposed to be there. I just wanted to clarify to them that at the end of the day, we have no permits for this particular parcel, and that's a little foreshadowing into the neighboring parcel for later. But this particular parcel, number 48 High Street, we do not have any approvals ever for commercial contractor storage or business. And that's why I wanted to emphasize to Nicolina here is that this cannot have, in theory, you know, they can have a wheelbarrow, but as soon as they have two, I'm going to consider it a business. I'm going to consider it contractor storage. So basically, a little shot across the bow, if you will, that once this is fully remedied, it must stay so. And like I said, the two more things. Here's the last one, and I gave the hearing officer a copy of this. Based on my email there, seems like the property owner is aware of the issue and seems willing to rectify everything. And they did great work, to be honest, in a matter of a few days, you know, with the rest of the stuff that was there. So I could understand the request for needing a few more days to get the rest of that out of there. So the city in the day looking for, again, uphold that there is a violation because the bin blocks, I got used to saying that, are still there. And also the access gate to the neighboring property, allowing for contractor vehicles and equipment to traverse the property into the neighboring one. Because of those two things, that the property is not in full compliance, it's getting there, but not there yet. So looking for that the violation still exists. We again would be looking for a continuance to the next hearing. Fine is pretty low here, but the owners do seem responsive. So therefore, if the fine is not levied, we're okay with that. But we, again, same understanding as the previous ones. If things are not completed, we will revisit the notion of a fine.
Okay, thank you very
Sure.
much for the presentation. I mean, first and foremost, there's been a substantial improvement. And then I do commend the property owners for responding to either the notice of violation or the citation and moving most of the items. So they've done a good job there. I am going to find a violation based on the blocks that are up against the property boundary line, and also the access between and presumed use of the access way between the two properties. So those two items will need to be remedied. So I will continue the hearing again to September 26th at 3 o'clock.
Perfect.
Given the work they've done and the improvements they've made, I don't think it's equitable. I don't think it benefits anyone to assess a fine at this point. So we will continue to September 26th, 3 p.m. No fine at this point, and with the understanding that if the issues that were highlighted, the blocks and the access way between the two properties, if those aren't remedied by the 26th, then I think it'll be necessary to assess a fine.
Oh, I'm behind the full agreement. I like that.
Let's say Attorney Gary.
Oh, they do? Oh, yeah, you can cross it out. Yeah, yeah, I probably forgot to. And I did the same thing when we changed from our first hearing officer. I did the same for about 2 hearings.
So I'm gonna
Those
say
were popping
Matthew
up.
Studer. You know, Gary doesn't want people confusing us, so.
I'm
He would-
sure
he would-
Gary'd
he
be
would
like,
be
"Oh,
insulted. so.
no, not at all, not at all." Thanks, yeah. Well, these little presentations, like scanning them, we used to not scan these. We just did them out here, but God forbid we ever appealed. This is so much easier to do a return of record on
Oh, yeah,
than doing all,
yeah.
just trying to copy everything and using, verbatims and all that. It's just so much easier. But all the things that came out of COVID, not everything was terrible.
No, not everything.
Not everything, and some of the results of COVID, but at the same time, I got all that great outdoor dining stuff and all that now that everybody does. That's a great thing. That's so you can get, happy hour to go sometimes. That's always a good thing. Okay, so now we only have one more quote unquote new one. And so, and then we'll see how we want to approach the rest of the agenda, but we'll do this one here, since this one we can, oh, sorry, we have 2 more. My apologies. My apologies. It's kind of wedged in there, 8 Winthrop. Let me get rid of this here. Okay, we already did Ohio, 8 Winthrop, all right. So, now this was one, I think I may give you a friendly heads up on that. Attorney Obrist ruled on before. But I think this one here, because the nature of the way this has progressed, I don't think Gary would mind if you took the football. And B, I think how it's progressed, I think you'd have no issue with perhaps if he needed to, made a ruling on it. And plus this also, you get to see how we handle a continuance, how we've done that. So a little, very slight education, how we handle that. So this is again 8 Winthrop. And so what this is, and here, I'll give you the memo ahead of time here.
Thank you.
Yep. So for those of us at home who may watch this and may remember this, the last time we were here was on July 26th. Now, normally we have a continuance. I hand the hearing officer the memo, but the idea is the hearing officer already seen this once before. So what Gary sometimes does, I put anything new in red text. So he knows that this is what's happened since. And sometimes his memory is amazing. Every now and again, he'll come up like, what the hell's that? And so he'll, I got to throw up a picture or something like that so he sees what it is. But then come through, say, okay, what happened since last time? So it makes the presentations a little shorter, the point a little more direct. So as an example, to progress with this one, like I said, the last time we were here was on July 26th, 2023, so last month. And as you can see by signature here, the owner was not present. It was an uncontested hearing. And so what we do, I'm gonna do this again here so you can see how this works. Just like we do with everyone, all the other ones, we show notice. So at this hearing, Gary found Attorney Overs found proper notice. So we proceeded, even though we wasn't here, just like we were with these other ones. But because he was not here, we can give oral notice if somebody is here, like we did for 61
Yes.
Ohio Avenue. Now what Gary sometimes does, and I can show an example of that later on when we're off record here. He writes down in his decision oral notice.
Okay.
So that this way, and he tells the person here, and just like 61 Ohio Ave, somebody will give them a pencil, they write it down. What this does is, it is in writing that we gave oral notice, it's on the record. And so this way, we don't have to send constable service, we don't have to send any notices. It's basically, we're covered with the record and the writing of the decision, but we're also relying on the defendant to be an adult, be responsible and show up. So, but in this case, he wasn't here, so we had to send notice. At that last hearing, however, the decision was, and you can see Attorney Ober's handwriting, it's fine, I can get it, it's fine, kind of like mine. Little, not the greatest thing in the world, but I can get it. So violation continues. He issued a contingent fine of $2,500 for progress, continued to today's hearing, which is the 23rd. And basically, continued 23rd, I'm assuming it says for further progress. Fine will be another 25, if another 2,500. That's why sometimes I gotta, it's hieroglyphs sometimes. Sorry, Gary, if you watch this. So basically, if he didn't do anything, if there was no progress, we can levy that $2,500 fine and possibly more. Because on the memo there, we list the maximum fine that it can be. And
Okay.
so it's substantial.
Yes.
So that's why Gary would throw out a contingent fine to try and say, kind of shot across the bow. To say, hey, we're you better, or else you're gonna get this. So in this case, it may have worked, but let's get through the as I say, the housekeeping. So on the 17th of this month, I haven't seen this one yet. This is our hearing notice. So it's not a citation, it's not a notice of violation, it's just a letter notifying of a hearing in the first paragraph there, 8:23 at 3 o'clock. And it's just basically, it's exactly that. It's just basically the bottom portion of our citation copied on here saying that you got to come to this hearing
Okay.
at this
So,
time.
so if a matter is continued and
Right.
and the individual property owner was not present,
Correct.
this is the notice.
That's
they
what we
get.
said,
Gotcha.
exactly. Yep. And just like we do with all our citations and occasional notices, Constable Bondi gets his share. It was left at the abode because the property owner is Normand Maurice. But in this case, his wife accepted for him, and he probably wasn't home. And so it is considered abode service, but one thing I do like that Peter does, he makes good notes about how the notice was dropped off. So based on that, I say we have notice.
And I'm going to agree.
Perfect. All right, so now the problem with this one was there was a boat in the driveway. And while there's just sort of a little, who says we can't have 10 seconds of fun here? I'll show you I'll actually show you the violation from, and this is available at Norwalk City Hall, it was available during last month's presentation. there you go. Boat sitting right in the driveway. The problem is, and obviously you can't have a boat at your property. The problem is it has to meet the front setback. Given where that is, there was no prayer of that meeting the front setback. So his only option was to remove it. Sometimes folks have options. You can relocate it to, if you have a larger property, you can relocate it somewhere. But, he doesn't have the ability to.
Yeah,
So he is stuck with one option, which means you have to gotta put it in the marina. Yeah, I'll snag that. There you go. That's from the last hearing. They'll want to submit that twice. So now back to today's hearings. So I got an email from the property owner on August 18th. Two emails. The first one showing the boat, saying that the boat is at the marina. Please drive by and verify. That was sent at 5:05 on August 18th. And here's the photo that he submitted. This was not taken by us. And there's no boat. Then as belts and suspenders, he sends the next email 2 minutes later saying it is at the marina. And if I didn't believe him, he took a picture. And I can actually verify where this is. This is Rex Marina. I just recognize because Pagano Seafood's back there. This is along Water Street. If you're going down towards Washington Street, before you get to Washington Street, Water Street's on your left.
Yeah.
The big new developments are there.
yeah.
There's 3 marinas down there, and this is the one in the middle. So it looks like he has storage there, which is good. That means it's not the property. And at his request, and what we would do normally anyway, we verify and we are gone. You guys can kind of see the outline where the boat's trailer used to be.
Mhm.
So it is resolved. Now, the reason I say we can perhaps rule on this, you still have the decision to make. If you did want to issue anything on that contingent fine, you had that ability. However, Attorney Obrist was slightly vague on his criteria. He basically just said there has to be progress by today. And that's pretty good progress if you ask me. So I have no issue with no fine being issued. And as a matter of procedure, if we were to close this, the decision from the hearing officer would be violation cured and matter resolved. And you actually have the power. This is one of the 3 times you can overrule me if you want. You can say file is closed, and I have to close it.
Okay, well. Based upon what I've seen today, the property owner had until today, the 23rd, to remove the boat. It appears that the property owner has done so. And it is properly stored at a marina and out of off his driveway. So I am going to, I'm going to find that the violation has been cured. I'm going to I am not going to impose the contingent fine of 2,500. I'm not going to impose any fine at all, since the property owner took the initiative and did what he had to do. And so I am going to order that the file be closed.
And that's why I bring my red pen.
There you go.
So basically on these here, so I send the decision form when they're closed, and then usually tomorrow, or if on an off chance we have an early dismissal from the meeting here, I will I'll close it in the system tomorrow. And it'll be all set. It'll be happy as a clam.
Perfect.
Never seen a happy clam, but I'm sure he will be.
They're up.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
So, is there anything else I need to write on? I know you had said what I had. Violation cured, no contingent fine, order file is closed.
Yep.
Efficient?
Yep, absolutely.
Excellent.
That, it's been, that's a good thing. It's been normally we don't get this. Normally there's resistance on folks or just slow or anything. So when we actually get somebody that actually listens, we, reward that effort. But I'll be completely honest, things it is closed, matters done is the reason there's a $2,500 fine. If you look, the citation was done in May. So we had a hearing in July
Mhm.
on it. Because we postponed the June hearing to July. That gave him an extra month to try and fix this, and he didn't.
Yes,
So Attorney Overs, he said, no, he didn't do it. We're gonna give him one more shot. And put a big number on there, 2,500 is a decent sized number,
yeah.
chunk of change. So, and that's what he does, that's what Attorney Overs does. He will, especially in that case, I think is because the guy got extra time, the owner got extra time, he didn't do it.
Mm.
But the solution was, and it's one of those things of, it costs money to store a boat, it
Yes.
does. And the boat's a luxury, I get it, we all get that, but it costs money to store a boat. If you start taking money out of the pocket too early, you're gonna prevent that person from remedying the violation, and we don't wanna, put our foot in our mouth.
That doesn't benefit
Doesn't help anybody.
anybody.
Right. Right, now we have one last one, okay. And if I may make a, little flip remark, I think this is gonna be a fun one. I think this is gonna be a good one. The copier didn't staple the memo. Good. Damn. Sometimes you get a copier that's been in your house as long as I have. So the fresh one is 2 Costas Street for those of us keeping score at home. Whenever you're ready.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Oh, yes. You can say goodbye. Okay, you can do that. That's fine. That's Alexis. She's the Chief Environmental Officer and Assistant Director.
Oh, okay.
Benefits. Oh, but she should stick around before her. She's usually here as late as I am, so you probably should stick around, whatever. So anyway. So this one actually started from a not typical source. But we do work with other departments. We're not in silos here. We got a inquiry from the police department based on a complaint that they received and they investigated at 2 Costas Street. What started as multiple vehicles, abandoned, disrepair, illegally parked, yada, yada, yada. And basically, they wanted us to investigate because it looked like there may have been an auto repair going on at the property. And some of the details within the police report that was forwarded to me here. So there were some hints that may be true. On the first page, makeshift tent with tarps, junk, 3 cars parked in the driveway, in addition to the paragraphs above of cars in the street. The owner, Sasha Moss, who was mentioned in the first paragraph, came out and said that they work on vehicles at the house. And then on the third page of the report, the responding officer contacted Sasha again and stated that one of the vehicles belongs to a customer. Based on that and the details here, I say, you know what, I think to cover the city, let's send a notice of violation based on the admission that were given in the police report. Now, we haven't gone out there yet, but the city, whenever we see something like this, we would rather take a slight chance in case something happens, something negative happens, the city is not liable. If somebody wants to claim that we made a mistake afterwards, we're okay with that because we can defend our actions. Because defending an action is a lot easier than defending an inaction. And so in this case, based on even though we had not investigated it personally, based on the information provided by a verifiable source, AKA the police department. We sent a notice of violation to the owner of record. And here is the 2 tax cards for that property. Right, some of the tax cards look plain, some of them look nice. I don't know. But the owners there are Glenn and Sharon Moss. For Sasha is a nickname, I would think. But given that, we sent notice. And the second card is the property field card with all the assessments and costs and all that good stuff. So we sent notice to those individuals on those cards on March 29th, 2023. And the violation is of 118-340B, the B residential zone operation of a commercial auto repair, which is not allowed in a B residential zone. B residential zone is exactly as it sounds, very residential. And on April 10th, we received the certified mail return green card for the property. Now, this here, the signature, I would say, is Sasha Moss.
Yeah.
And I would also, I would contend when trying to establish notice that the police department stated that Sasha was the quote unquote owner. And they would not have put that into their report unless they had some sort of confirmation of that. And that brings me a little bit to my comment earlier that Sasha just may be a nickname, maybe something that she goes by rather than Sharon. Because that is how it is signed to Sasha. I would say that is definitely Sasha Moss on the signature. And then as one last nugget for notice, email was sent to me on April 18th from Sasha, basically outlining that no, they are acknowledging and then it says Sasha Taylor Moss. I'm looking at all this as she is Sharon, and that is for the initial notice of violation, why I felt I had the right to continue with my enforcement. But based on that email, sent once again our land use technician out, Lee, to do an inspection. And so basically, yeah, we have some indications of auto repair here. We have parts on the left side of the driveway, one car under repair in front of the garage, another unregistered van in the driveway, an unregistered vehicle in the driveway. And also, if you look really close in the picture on that Audi, customer parking. That's interesting, with a cone in front of it. So that's in my years here, I've never seen that. The next picture shows several cars lined up in the street. Now again, the street is not zoning jurisdiction, but I am using this as showing that there is a queue or a line of cars to be worked on. The white car here in question has a temporary tag on it. Now zoning cannot legally run plates, but so I'm going to use the assumption that they're keeping a temporary plate on that car while they're working on it so they can store it in the street. That's my assertion based on that. And then also the same thing for the red truck, which is immediately behind it. Again, no tags, but temporary tag in the window. And so I said that Yeah, that's just a duplicate picture. That's my fault. The last one's just a duplicate. I ran it through twice. So based on that inspection, I contacted Sasha and left a detailed email as to, what we're doing, what the violations are, and basically agreeing to an extension to May 5th to try and remedy everything. And then I offered, if you need longer than May 5th, we'll have a hearing in May. You can ask our hearing officer for something longer. State statute says I can give 15 days. If somebody's really close to finishing, I give more than 15 days. I give them like another week or something just to get it done. But if something like this, which is a large scale issue, I have them come in here to get the appropriate amount of time, but also put them in front of in an arena where there's gonna be some pressure put on. This is a lot more pressure filled than my humble office. So being that I gave a deadline to remedy of May 5th, that means I would do my follow-up inspection the following week, either somewhere around the 8th or the 9th or the 10th. And that was sent on my email was sent April 27th. On May 2nd, our customer service department received an email from a neighbor, and I submit that because this is a follow-up. They're claiming a mechanical shop, and that's just the initial email that was sent to the customer service office, the city clerk. And this individual, Keith, don't have the last name there, offered some photos showing what he believed is evidence of an auto repair. The first picture, I would definitely agree with them. They're working on a car in the street. To some degree, it could be just changing windshield wiper fluid, or it could be changing the engine, but definitely working on it. And the rest of them just so parking in the street, which is not a zoning issue. But again, I will draw back to this amount of cars in the street and the configuration that they are in the street would lend itself to say these cars are waiting to be worked on. And then also as good measure, they may be working on a boat. I don't know, that was there, they sent that in, and then behind that boat is a car that looks like it is damaged. And this is the only time this car shows up in any of our investigation. So that's another hint for me that this is an auto repair operation. And again, I want to put on the record as auto repairs are very difficult to enforce from a zoning perspective, because generally you have to show some sort of commercial activity. However, state Superior Court precedent says that if the level of activity rises to a public nuisance, environmental nuisance, or public safety hazard, the municipality has the right to declare it a automotive repair operation, even if there is no actual exchange of money. But however, it is, this is probably in my whole time here, this is probably doing this job for now 7 years. This as an inspector, this is probably only the 4th one I've ever brought here, because they are just, I have a bunch of them sitting in my office. They're just very difficult to pin down most of the time. But this one I felt was egregious enough that I should continue with my enforcement, because the neighborhood is very negatively impacted by the amount of activity that's going on. So moving on, same day, the 2nd, Sasha replied to my lengthy email there, giving the deadline of May 5th, saying that we were working and have everything done by the end of the week. So the 2nd, that would have been the 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Like, cool. All right, we'll go out and take a look. So on May 2nd, so I had a documentation of our inspection. It was just serendipity. I happened to be a couple streets over, so I decided to cruise by. and take some pictures. So these are the pictures. So
So this is May second.
still May
Okay.
2nd, correct.
Oh, it's right on the picture.
Oh yeah, I always write it down on there. I
Yeah.
don't. I have an old camera. This won't get me a new one that will just put on there automatically. Sorry, that's my cross to bear. Everybody, not everybody else's. But same thing. A lot of the same song, different verse. Car parts in the driveway, junk car, unregistered car. Still got that sign there, which I absolutely love, by the way. Some violations just they're fun. And this one was interesting. They now have a tow truck on the street, but why else would that be there if you're not bringing heavy automotive there? Boat's still there. I took that picture just basically. I did that particular photo. Did include it here by to forward it to the police department for enforcement for parking of a vehicle that probably shouldn't be in the street. And then that same damaged car that was presented in the email to the mayor's office. And I also found a small trailer that may or may not have been on the property, but I wanted to include it just in case. It is a trailer for moving small cars for vehicles. So again, why would that be there? Even if it's not quite on the property, why else would it be around? So I'm pretty confident at this point I do have an auto repair going on there. So, but I was willing to let the property owner, they said they were gonna get it cleaned up, so I was gonna let them do their thing. So now we come to May 8th, where you don't see this often. Headline's a little dark and gloomy, but a fire occurred at the house and pretty much destroyed it. And the fire officials that were there, fire department, I also had a conversation with the deputy fire marshal, Kirk McDonald. As you can tell by the picture there, the flames, that it's in the garage is where the majority of this took place. And even in this little, I do not have the actual fire report from the fire marshal's office. They are still actually, it's been a couple months later, they are still finalizing everything on the report with they do a very thorough investigation with things like chemicals and storage and means of storage, things like that. But even the deputy fire chief made the comment to the media. Even he believed that it was a house with flammable liquids, motorcycles, car parts, all stored in the garage. So even a cursory glance by somebody who does this, who knows this stuff on a regular basis, made that assumption. So we'll flash forward a little bit. When something like this happens, we have to give that agency a little opportunity to do their investigation. So we had to let the fire marshal do their thing, the fire department deem whatever safe, unsafe, do their investigation, their reporting. So we kind of let this sit. And plus also burnt out house, the people generally aren't, they're not there. So the activity ceased, at least temporarily. So I really didn't have something to throw on. So flash forward, that was in May to July 19th.
And what was the date of the fire? I'm sorry.
May 8th.
May.
Yep. Monday, the day I was gonna go check it out. So that's a follow-up that same gentleman, Keith, from a previous email. He followed up with our chief officer again, Tammy. Basically saying that it appears that since the fire, they have added cars in the backyard, and basically he's implying that they're maybe firing up the business again. No pun intended with the fire comment. So basically with the chatting with my chief officer, Tammy, I said, what we want to do. She said, give the fire marshal another week or so to finish out everything, see where he's at, and then head out to kick out our investigation again. I work well with Kirk in the fire marshal's office, so I gave him a couple weeks to get what they needed to get done. So I went out on August 10th. And boy, if there was ever a house that was on fire, this is it.
Oh, Jeez, yeah.
That was a nasty one.
Yeah.
So some of the vehicles that were there, the fire marshal did tell me the van there, they actually dragged out of the way. So they can actually get equipment to the fire. So that's why it's the same van that was in the previous photos in the driveway. And then let's see the second picture. Yeah, there's that RV again. Not really a zoning violation, but it corroborates the email from the neighbor. Now this is interesting. The third picture. So this fence here, well, wasn't much of a fence. It was only up to my right up to my neck, like right here. Wasn't much of a fence, but you can see they got your tow truck back there still. Yeah, that was on the property earlier. You have new cars that weren't in the front earlier, and we have some tools that look like they were just added to the back there. We have a joist. The red thing is a engine joist. And also a large jack at the left side by the house. That probably is a 5-ton jack. Those were not observed anywhere on the property before. Then also you have car parts. Now, some of it could be remnants from the fire. They just dug out and things they can salvage. I don't know that. So I'm going to assume that they're new. Picture 5, much of the same. Car parts, you can see the tools and the unregistered vehicles. Slightly down in the corner, the fence was higher as you went to the corner, but there was still a little hole there. I just wanted to show that there is some car parts there. Again, whether they're salvaged or not, I can't confirm. Full disclosure. And then around the back of the property, again, fence was a little bit higher, but you can still get the idea. This is it's a problem that I would make the assertion that they are back at it. Rolling on, we got this, I was trying to assess how are we gonna go forward with this? What are we gonna do? Because really it is majorly now a blight and a, fire department, building department hazard. But we keep getting complaints from the neighborhood. Saying that, they're parking cars on the front. There are 3 cars and a large motor home in the yard. So again, to cover ourselves from liability in case something happens again, which I'm glad we sent that notice when we did, because if somebody got hurt in that fire and it was because the fire marshal says because of illegal auto repair, we gotta make sure we're covered. So based on that, sent the citation again to the owner of record. But the problem is the mailing of record is that house. Well, they're clearly not living there. So, and that RV, that doesn't look like it's habitated. I don't know why. Maybe they're fixing that up. That doesn't look like a RV that somebody's actively living in. There's no water line. There's nothing even to show that they emptied the tank. So Constable Bondi did do service, but he said one of the few times he admitted, he's like, I don't know where they are. They're probably living with family, to be honest with you. So he did do his best. He left it there. He said he put it in the door best he could. And he figured somebody will eventually get there. But this is one of his very few rare abode services where he did not find the property owner. And that was on, so that the citation was sent on the 16th, August 16th. The owner, or Sasha again, sent me an email on the 16th. And wasn't really pertaining to the notice or the citation, but it gives a little information that this is still on their mind, that it's still there. They're still dealing with it. So I, took advantage of that. Once I realized, I didn't realize initially on Monday when, Peter dropped off the service, that it was a boat service and not, just go show you. I'm computerized, if you will, to think he served it in hand. So what I did was I emailed her back on that email that she sent me on the 16th, and this was just today, this email. And I basically am outlining, that we sent a citation and that it was a boat service, so they probably didn't get it, or they may not have gotten it yet. So I'd rather play it safe and just say, look, if you want to give if you want an extension, we can do that, and I won't contest it as the city. Just to play it safe, because if I contested it saying that, oh no, you don't deserve it, they can easily say, oh, I never got the notice. And given the situation, given the unique and odd circumstances, that's just a fight I didn't want to have. And so last but not least, I also gave you a copy of this one. That's that one there. And that is her, I don't have it on the presentation because of the time that it was sent this afternoon, I didn't have time to throw it on the presentation. Basically asking for a continuance.
Okay.
So long and short, well, again, a little wash, rinse, and repeat. This one's a little more straightforward. I offered a continuance. They're
Yeah.
taking it. That's our stance. And but we would like to, the violation be found that they, I believe they still are operating out of that property. I still think they're doing something out of the property. They may not be living there, and the business may not be as robust as it was before the fire. But I believe that we have enough evidence here to say that they are doing something back there. They have not ceased totally. So my request is to find it a violation. Of course, find notice, find violation, and then continue to, now we have a September hearing, the 26th.
So first, I will find notice. I was a little uneasy with the abode service in this case. Typically, as in any civil procedure, abode service is usually sufficient. Here, we have a pretty good indication they are not
there
currently residing in this burnt out residence.
Right.
The fact that there has been this communication back and forth with Sasha Moss, who indicates that we are aware of the violation. They were made aware of today's hearing, and they did in fact request a continuance of today's hearing. So because of that, I will find notice. I will find a violation based on the evidence presented to this point. As you stated, it can be difficult to prove a commercial auto body.
Oh, yeah.
But as you said, there's certain elements that the city is required to consider, including public nuisance, public safety in this instance, that's directly implicated by this fire in the garage. And I'm hopeful that we can get the report from the fire department prior to our September 26th hearing, if that's possible.
I will put a note on that. I will email Kirk. He's the acting fire marshal at the moment. And I'll see he's usually very good if I ask for a report. He usually gets it within a day or two. So if it's done, if it's not done, he'll tell me to say either estimate when it's going to be done, or if he really thinks it's some reason it's not going to be done by then, he'll tell me. And then I can even relay that to you and say, hey, look, if we make it a contingency, one of the contingent factors for the new hearing would be a fire marshal report. It's not going to be ready for September. Would you want to still hear it based on the information I got from the fire marshal, whatever that may be, or do you just want to continue it to another hearing?
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you that option, but I have a feeling if there is something to give me, Kirk will supply it.
Perfect. So I will continue the hearing. Not going to issue any fines or assess any fines at this time. I would love to have the property owners come in
Okay.
and give their side of the story,
Mhm.
because the facts don't look great as they've been presented to me. But I think it's important to hear their side in this matter as well. So I will continue the hearing, make a finding of notice and violation. I will not issue a fine at this time. I will continue the hearing till September 26th at 3 p.m.
That,
Yeah. And if they are listening to this, or if they do watch
they're not listening at the moment, but they may
this
catch up on
recording,
they may catch
recording,
up on it.
just stress that if the property is demolished, and if that is the route they go,
I-
the key is they can't continue to use.
The operate,
property
exactly.
as
I'll be,
auto repair.
I mean, full honesty, if they just, you know, if all it was the burnt out house and a few cars lying around, I would say this is a blight and a building department issue. Zoning would have minimal say in this. But clearly, I guess that in the upheld, thank you very much for that. In the rear of the property is a little more going, but at the same time, this is it was in one of my emails, just as a point of information. I did talk to the chief building official. And this I put on the record as well, so they know. That this is also a blight violation. So per state ordinance, if there's a code enforcement violation, they don't necessarily have to issue a demolition permit. Building department doesn't have to necessarily issue that. You know, and I could see where he's coming from. They don't want to do that because they want to ensure that the blight at the rest of the property is taken care of before a demolished house creates an even bigger blight. So I definitely understand that. Though my concern, this particular property, how it might overlap to us, is demolishing the property and start to construct something new. To me, would almost, well, if the fire didn't do it, but would almost guarantee the cessation of the business, because they're going to build the house. They got to need the room to actually build the house and knock it down, to be honest. So I would think if they issued the demo permit, they were allowed to do that. The owner was allowed to do that. That would help my cause. But it sounded like my conversation with the building official, at least at this time, doesn't seem like they're going to do that. They're going to issue it. So we got to kind of rely on, hopefully, the owners taking it upon themselves to stop and remove everything. That's good. Thank you. Awesome.
Any decision?
Excellent. All right, so now the $64,000 question. We are completed with the agenda of new items, which Attorney Oberst has not ruled on. So therefore he has no history, or even like 8 Winthrop, it's not as clear cut. They're not as clear cut as that one.
Mhm.
So I will ask, it's your first day, we have been here a while. And again, I've had that conversation with Attorney Oberst. If these two, if you would rather these continue with Attorney Oberst, I can. The reason, I'll put on the record, the reason why 29 Priscilla and 194 East Avenue are even still on here is simply because I was able to notify everybody else that was on our original agenda, except these two. I do not have adequate contact for them. So I put them on here in case they showed up. And
Okay,
then we could have gone from there. We could have addressed it however we wanted to address it. But they have not showed up. I think we've given them more than a lot of time to show up. So now it is on the hearing officer whether he wants to hear these or not.
I would prefer to pass on these two for today. If only because up to this point, they have been heard by Attorney Oberst. If the property owners appeared and were okay with me hearing their appeal at this juncture, I would do so.
Okay,
But without them being here, I would be more comfortable allowing Attorney Oberst to handle the resolution.
that is fine, I'm
of
sure,
these two items.
and I'm sure he would love to take them.
I'm sure
He's
I'm
love
sure
it.
he's not thrilled with
No,
that, so I
oh, no,
apologize,
oh, no, I
Oberst.
think, what, he kind of, as I told him on the phone, I said, not for nothing, you kind of did it yourself a little bit here by continuing these days, you could have kicked it farther. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so with that, we are done today for, the August 23rd, 2023 hearings. Our next scheduled hearing is with Attorney Oberst on September 20th. So that will be a robust agenda. And then after that, we'll be returning September 26th. Counselor, thank you. I hope you enjoyed your first, go around here.
Oh, I
Hopefully it
did.
wasn't,
Thank you for walking me through the procedure.
no problem. And, so we'll be back for some of these items here today on the 26th. Until then, good night, everybody, and take care. And we're gonna, how do we do this now? This changed.